Well, folks, this isn't something you get to do every day. Today we are at the official U.S. press introduction for American Honda's 2022 Navi. What is a Navi? Navi is the fifth addition to American Honda's miniMOTO lineup. Part scooter, part motorcycle. This $1,800 Navi is a great solution for an urban motorcyclist looking for affordable around town transportation. Let's hop on this bad boy and go for a ride. All right, folks, here we are at the controls of American Honda's 2022 Navi hybrid scooter motorcycle. This is the fifth addition to American Honda's miniMOTO motorcycle lineup. Now, American Honda's miniMOTO motorcycle lineup was originally launched for the 2014 model year with Honda's Grom 125. It later expanded with the addition of the Honda Monkey for the 2019 model year, and then the Honda Super Cub C125 ABS was added to the mix, I think exactly around 2019 model year as well. And then the fourth addition to the American Honda miniMOTO model lineup was the Honda Trail, which was introduced last year for the 2020 model year. Now, going into 2022, we have this Honda Navi. Now, this Honda Navi is positioned as a hybrid between a traditional street bike and a scooter. It is designed for someone who wants to experience the excitement and ease of use of a motorcycle, but in a much more friendly way. Now, ease of use and low operating cost were the primary motivating factors in engineering this vehicle. Now, compared to the Honda Grom, which rings in at $3,400, $3,600 if you want ABS, this bike is only $1,800. It is literally half the cost of a Grom ABS. $1,800 for a brand new 2022 Honda Navi hybrid motorcycle scooter. That is an exceptional value. You cannot deny that. This vehicle is powered by a 107cc overhead cam air-cooled single. This engine is actually used out of another Honda scooter, the Honda Active, I believe. That scooter is actually not imported in the United States, but it is a worldwide scooter model. So that engine powers this vehicle. It is of undersquare design, meaning the piston stroke measures greater than the piston bore. So that is what powers this vehicle. Instead of a manual transmission, this vehicle is endowed with a CVT automatic transmission. So a transmission just like a scooter, you twist the throttle and you go. There is no clutch lever to work. There is no gear shift lever to row up and down on. Instead of a clutch lever, we have this cable actuated parking brake, which is used to keep the vehicle positioned at a standstill when parking on an incline or decline. On the right side of this steel handlebar, we have a traditional motorcycle twist tube throttle, and we have a traditional cable actuated front brake. This brake is cable actuated. It doesn't benefit from hydraulic actuation, and it moves a drum brake mechanism. So this vehicle is not equipped with disc brakes. It has old style drum brakes, and the reason why it has old style drum brakes is to keep the MSRP at a very low price, which we already spoke about. So if you want more high spec components, definitely go with a Grom or a Monkey. If you want bargain basement but capable performance, go with this Honda Navi. Now, we also have a choke lever here on the left hand side of the switch where we operate the turn signals, the horn, and the headlight. And this choke lever operates the carburetor. So when you start this motorcycle, you can give it a little bit of choke, which helps it fire. Yes, that's right. This vehicle is not endowed with fuel injection. It has a carburetor. Again, the use of a carburetor was to facilitate a low MSRP. It's crazy that a new vehicle would actually be manufactured in America with a carburetor these days. Alright folks, we're going to take a little break here and do some photos, get some content for all the fans out there all across North America and the world, and we'll check in with you in a little bit. Thanks for riding with us today, folks. Alright folks, we are done with our photo shoot to get the nice images for all of you fans out there worldwide, and we are back on the 2022 Honda Navi hybrid street bike scooter. I am actually pretty impressed with this thing. This engine has a good amount of torque. Like, it gets off the stoplight very well. We're already going 25 miles per hour. And the CVT transmission, it just feels like it has one never-ending gear. Just one never-ending gear. There's no herky-jerkiness. There's no jerkiness of changing gears. It's just one never-ending speed. Very easy, very smooth. Really like how little vibration is felt through the controls. I feel just a hint of vibration through the handlebar and the foot pegs, just a hint. But overall, it's a pretty smooth experience. This Honda Navi rolls on a 12-inch front and a 10-inch rear tire. We talked about the brakes. We have drum brakes, front and rear. The rear brake is actuated by a conventional motorcycle style shift pedal that is actuated by the right foot. So you press down on your foot on that lever, and that engages the rear brake. Now, when you're operating a motorcycle, it is always best to use the front and rear brake together. Realistically, 90% of your actual stopping power on the road is going to be facilitated by the front brake, but the rear brake is a handy tool to use to help shorten stopping distance and give you important vehicle control. Rear brake's almost an advanced riding technique with proper rear brake application, which we will probably get into in the next video. That would be really good to talk about advanced riding techniques, how to overlap controls, how to properly use your rear brake. A topic for another discussion, but it's also nice to use in the beginner's hands because it helps give the vehicle a little bit more control. You can actually help use that shock and keep it from being so fast when you use a little rear brake, because it just allows the rear of the vehicle to squat ever so slightly during application. Now, we have a traditional mechanical ignition key. This ignition key also allows us to access the fuel tank, which is positioned right here in a conventional motorcycle place to fuel up the vehicle. There's also a neat storage compartment beneath the motorcycle, which is kept under lock and key, that's used by this ignition key here, and we can store a bunch of goodies inside. We're going to show you that locked box here in a little bit. But this vehicle realistically is designed for just urban folks who want a functional form of transportation around town. You're not going to be riding this vehicle on the highway. You could. Obviously, you cannot operate it on the interstate freeway system here in the Golden State. You have to have a vehicle with an engine displacement greater than 150 cc to operate on a California interstate highway. But realistically, even with that size engine, that's too small for California freeways. These days in the post-COVID area, everyone drives 90 miles per hour down here in Southern California, so you're going to need a lot bigger engine to keep up with traffic down here. But you could legally operate this thing on a highway. There is no displacement restriction on that. That is Mr. Mangchengo himself, Zach Quartz, Mr. Mangchengo. We call him Mr. Mangchengo because we have an affinity for calling people Mang. And when we would go to Spain, we would always like to eat Manchego cheese for breakfast, because in Spain they love their jamon and cheese and bread for breakfast. So Manchego cheddar cheese Mang is what I call Zach Quartz. That is some BTS fun times commentary for all of you readers and fans out there in the interwebs world. All right, folks, we spoke about the wheel size and the drum brakes front and rear. This vehicle does not benefit from ABS. There is no anti-lock brakes on this vehicle. That was done to keep the price down at $1,800. To be fair, the input of both the front brake and the rear brake, you really have to get on it to even have the brake even be capable of locking up. And even if you did use the brake super aggressively, just because the brakes don't have the sharp stopping performance of a disc setup, they are less prone to lock up. Right now I'm using the rear brake pedal at max, and the rear brake isn't even locking up. So it slows down nicely, but not enough power to lock up the wheels. So even though this bike doesn't have ABS, it almost kind of does, just because the brake performance is so modest that it doesn't have the force to stop the wheel and cause vehicle instability. So good job, Honda. Great workaround for not having ABS. Nice. Here we are passing a $90,000 Porsche, just showing how much capability this little bike actually has. Get out of my way. The great thing about these twist and go CVT style transmissions that come equipped on scooters is that it really allows you to focus on just checking out the sights and sounds of your city or urban area. Now, there's really not much to look at here in the urban confines of Costa Mesa, California, but if we were operating this vehicle on some city street near Pacific Coast Highway near the ocean, that would be awesome, because we'd actually have the mental capacity to check out the water, check out the sands, just because this vehicle doesn't require a lot of mental intensity to operate with its lack of clutch and modest engine performance. Alright folks, now we are traveling through the city of Irvine, California. Irvine, California is a master plan community. I wouldn't necessarily call it master, because master insinuates top of tier, and Irvine's not really top tier by any means, but it is clean, organized, with freshly paved roads that are wide. And when you're navigating through a city like this Honda Navi scooter is a worthwhile companion. It goes just fast enough to get you to your destination, yet it's super easy to ride, super easy to park, and with it achieving over 100 miles per gallon of fuel consumption, this thing does not break the bank. If you're looking for an affordable, economical vehicle to get you to and from where you need to be, this $1,800 Honda Navi is a good solution. If you're looking for something that's really fun and really exciting to ride, this Honda Navi is not that vehicle. This is practical, around town, gas engine equipped transportation at its finest. Alright folks, let's take out the mechanical key. I love mechanical key. And there is the fuel storage cap right there. Capacity of this fuel tank is 0.9 gallon. 0.9 gallon. Now let's go over here. This is the storage area for our goodies. We have some waters and snacks in this bag. A pretty generous size storage compartment. You can easily fit a 6-pack of soda in there and some ice, which I really like. Of course, we have a kickstand which supports the vehicle right there. We also have a center stand which we can actuate like that. Center stand. If the battery ever goes kaput, we can actually start this vehicle with the Kickstart lever. Here we go. Oh, we gotta turn the on button on. And there she goes. Now we are running. So we don't even need a battery to start this vehicle, just the Kickstart lever. It's worth noting that this Honda Navi is manufactured out of Honda's Mexico factory. The Mexico factory does the final assembly of this vehicle before it's imported into the United States of America. Alright, boys and girls, we are back aboard our 2022 Honda Navi hybrid street bike scooter. This vehicle has just over 3 inches of suspension up front and just under 3 inches out back. It delivers a pretty good ride quality. To be fair, we are operating this vehicle in the city of Irvine. Irvine has better than average infrastructure in Southern California, and the paved road surfaces are in a less dilapidated state than many other cities within Southern California, and the suspension is delivering a very, very adequate ride. This thing is a cozy little around town go-getter. Now I stand 6 feet tall. I weigh 190 pounds, and this vehicle is well suited to my stature. I like that the one-piece seat has a lot of room to scoot back on, just like the newly updated 2021 Honda Grom. I'm sorry, 2022 Honda Grom with its more accurately molded one-piece seat. And I like that this handlebar has a nice gentle rise on it. My hands aren't absurdly low, and I have a good commanding stance of this vehicle. The rear view mirrors do a nice job of showing me what is going on behind me. They don't vibrate very much, and it is very easy to keep tabs on the stuff that's behind me. Oh, there's a big bump, and the suspension soaks it up fairly well. Of course, this motorcycle is going to have more pogo-y-ish suspension, especially once you start racking up the miles on it, but for around town use, it is just fine. Alright folks, we just got up to an estimated top speed of right around 50 mph. 50 miles per hour was our top speed on this mostly straight road that has an ever so slight decline. Ever so slight. I know it isn't ever so slight because I used to ride my road bike on this ride, and riding this way west toward the ocean was always a few percent easier because of the downward slope. Alright boys and girls, now this is the true test. We are going up a relatively moderate incline, and this 107cc air-cooled single has a good amount of torque. It's pulling us up this hill at 40 miles per hour with the throttle twisted to the maximum. And that is not bad at all for a little hilly urban test of this vehicle. Alright folks, now we're doing the downhill test. We are going downhill with the throttle applied to the maximum, and we are going 55 miles per hour down hills. This vehicle is capable of that top speed. So in a flat line you can go 50, down a hill 55. Not bad for a little urban scooter street bike hybrid. Now we are going up another moderate incline. We are going to show you how these brakes on this bike work if we encounter a red traffic light here, which we have not yet, but maybe we will. And here we go with a red traffic light. Look how effective these brakes are. You can use these brakes very aggressively just because they don't have an extreme amount of power to really stop that wheel. So you can use these brakes very hard without having to worry about wheel and tire lockup. It's almost like having ABS without having ABS. And away we go, guys. Look, this thing jumps off the line. We basically bested that Mercedes gas-powered vehicle. So if you are not sleepy when the light turns green, you can definitely jump ahead of most civilians in their automobiles. Alright boys and girls, here we are on the Balboa ferry that runs you from Balboa Island here to the Newport Beach Peninsula. This is a fun ferry that's been running since the 1900s, 1930s, 40s, probably even before that, and a great way to see the sights and sounds of Newport Beach on our 2022 Honda Navi, which is perfectly suited to this type of lifestyle. And just like that, folks, we drove off the ferry. Sorry we missed the part of actually leaving the ferry. There is always a delay when you hit the record button on the GoPro Hero 9 camera. I'll try to be more astute about that next time. That Mexican restaurant right there is fire. Well, folks, there you have it. A quick review of Honda's 2022 Navi hybrid street bike scooter from the official US press introduction of this model. All in all, for $1,800, this motorcycle is a really nice scooter slash street bike for those who are on a budget and are riding in an urban area. It is easy to operate. It is super affordable. It is super easy to park. The running costs of this vehicle are exceptionally low, and for someone who wants to get into motorcycling in an urban area and wants something that is as easy to ride as a scooter but has a little bit of motorcycle ethos integrated into it, I think this $1,800 Honda Navi is a great choice. Kudos to American Honda for continuing to expand its miniMOTO lineup. No one does it like Big Red. And make sure to log on to motorcyclistonline.com. That's where all of my written content lives. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs it down if you didn't, because we love to hear from the haters out there. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for riding with us today.